The Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots, a Super Bowl rematch from 11 years ago. Thinking back to 2015, the NFL was a completely different league with a crazy final game. Super Bowl 49 is widely considered one of the greatest games in NFL history. We saw peak beast mode, the greatest tight end of all time, one of the best defenses ever assembled, two elite quarterbacks at the height of their powers, and a Super Bowl hero who will never be forgotten. That game was franchise defining for both the Seahawks and Patriots. The Patriots went on to return to the Super Bowl multiple times over the next few years, finishing off the greatest dynasty in NFL history with 2 more rings. The Seahawks, on the other hand, have had to grind their way back, rebuilding and reassembling their roster multiple times since 2015 just to reach this stage again. And that brings us to 2026, Super Bowl 60, a rematch of that unforgettable, legendary game from 2015. And just like that game, this one will be franchise defining for both teams. Most people agree that Boston sports fans are the most spoiled fan base in America. But on top of all of this, the New England Patriots have been arguably the best sports franchise in America for the last 2 decades. The Brady-Belichick era was magical, 6 championships and 10 Super Bowl appearances. But once that era came to a crashing end, the Patriots were forced to rebuild. They drafted their supposed quarterback of the future in Mac Jones and even made the playoffs with him under center. But just a couple years later, and that era came to an end as well. So New England moved on and drafted Drake May in 2023. Just a year later, in 2024, they had a very successful draft and hired head coach Mike Vrabel, and what do you know? The Patriots made the concept of rebuilding a team seem effortless and easy. Sure, they didn't have the strongest roster in the AFC this past year, but they made some big plays in some big moments to complete a historically fast rebuild and make it back to the Super Bowl. So what would a win mean for New England in Super Bowl 60? The Patriots are underdogs in this game, but that only makes a potential victory even more meaningful and reminiscent of their 2001 Super Bowl run. 25 years ago, New England was a massive underdog against the St. Louis Rams, led by a young and unproven Tom Brady. But they pulled off the upset with the last-second field goal and opened the door to one of the best sports dynasties of all time. Now, 25 years later, and the Patriots find themselves in a similar position. If history were to repeat itself and New England pulled off another upset, it could open the door to yet another dynasty, this time built around Drake May. But even without looking that far ahead, the immediate impact of a Patriots victory would be massive. A Super Bowl win would make Drake May the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, and he would already have more rings than stars like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, who have all yet to win a Super Bowl. And May would have the same amount of rings as all-time greats like Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. But on the other hand, a loss honestly wouldn't be catastrophic. This Patriots team is still a work in progress and should continue to improve. But at the same time, we've seen this story before. Teams like the Joe Burrow Bengals made the Super Bowl early, but have only gotten worse since then. The harsh reality is, a lot of young quarterbacks only get one chance at a ring in their careers. So this game could elevate the Patriots into another era of dominance or send them down a rough path that we've seen before. But most likely, New England will improve next year regardless of the outcome of this game. But a win here would put them on a completely different level in terms of dominance. Now let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks, who in my opinion need this win even more. This season has been the perfect setup for Seattle. Not only did they avoid facing some other great AFC teams like the Broncos and Bills, but they've also put together a complete team that's peaking at the perfect time. The big question prior to the season for Seattle was their quarterback, but they've clearly found themselves the right guy in Sam Darnold. On top of that, Jackson Smith-Njigba has taken a massive leap into superstardom, and Seattle is loaded with playmakers on both sides of the ball. So even though Seattle might be able to make it back to this point in the next few years, I'm not as confident in their future as New England because they don't have the young star QB that New England has. This feels like their year, and they have to capitalize. And honestly, I think they will. As long as Sam Darnold continues playing the way that he has throughout this entire playoff run, Seattle should win this game. They're simply the better team across the board, defensively, offensively, and even on special teams. A win for Seattle wouldn't just satisfy most of America. It would represent revenge for the Super Bowl they should have won 11 years ago. A loss, though, would obviously be devastating, and I don't know if the Seahawks will ever be able to fully recover from it, at least with this core. For Sam Darnold, a Super Bowl win would complete one of the greatest career revivals of all time. He would go from being labeled a bust and bouncing around the league to beating the very team he infamously saw ghosts against. Darnold already is and will continue to be a testament to how someone can revive their career. And honestly, it would be beautiful to see this team win it all this year. The Seahawks and their fan base have waited years for this moment, and for them to win a Super Bowl against a team that crushed their dreams just over a decade ago would be poetic. And that's exactly the way that I see it going. No matter the outcome, this game will shape the NFL for years to come. It could mark the beginning of another Patriots dynasty or finally deliver Seattle the revenge they've been waiting for. So what do you think? Let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win Super Bowl 60, and if you're a fan of either of these teams, let me know in the comments why your team will win. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. There's a new feature that YouTube is testing out called the hype button, so if you really enjoyed this video, make sure to hype it as well, and I'll see you all in the next video.